In this video, we're going to see how you can set up a goal to improve your golf game and implement it to shoot your lowest scores possible. Hi there, David Maynard here. 5 Feels Golf is all about golf improvement, how we can play our best to shoot our best score, even when we're not swinging the club that day. The 5 feels are gratitude, enthusiasm, certainty, presence, and inspiration. If we look back to when we've played our best golf in the past, I can pretty much guarantee that all of them feels were there. I remember one of the best starts I've ever had in a round of golf was first hole birdie, second hole birdie, third hole birdie, fourth hole birdie. And when I look back to how I started that round, I was really grateful to be there. I was enthusiastic, I was certain, present, and I was inspired. So how did I get into that state of mind? And how can we continue to stay in that state of mind? Because as soon as I started trying too hard to be in that state, and that's when my round completely flipped on its head. So the 5th hole, double bogey, 6th hole, double bogey, 7th hole, bogey. So how could my golf game just switch just like that on the same day within a matter of 20 minutes? So this channel is really how can we use them 5 feels to really play our best golf, but how can we use them for extended periods of time as well? So I remember when I started that round of golf, so what happened was I was grouped with 3 other elderly women. So straight away, I knew this was going to be a slow round. So I started asking myself questions like, what was the benefit of playing a slow round? And I really got myself into a mental state of like I was enthused to be there. I was grateful, I was certain that I was going to play well and play good. I was present in the moment, and I was inspired to be there. So I really do feel I'm going to use my expertise in personal development and use my skills and really go down the path of what exercises can we do to really help improve our mental golf game, where we can tap into these 5 feels, whether it's ask ourselves questions at the beginning of the round? While we're walking up to our ball, are we just using quick exercises just to help us flip into that state of mind? Or is it a bit of combination of both? So this is really, over the next few months, is what we're going to tap into, is what exercises can we do to really help improve our mental golf game? I know if you search online a lot, you can see a lot of technique. So golf is not a game of technical thoughts, although technique is important. 90% of the information out there is all about technique. But with technique, it's very personal to you. So one technique may work for one person and not the other. So although technique is important, this is not going to be a focus of the channel. I'm going to share games, drills, and how I practice and what drills I've been doing, but it's not a key focus. And this is more just to track what I'm doing in my swing and just to really just help give me that little bit of an edge. in this channel, we're going to really explore how we can tap into them 5 feelings more often to play our best golf. Like I said, while trying not to force or fake them feelings, because as soon as we try and force or fake them, this is really where we can lead up to playing our worst golf. It really brings in tension. So let's come and follow my journey on how to master my golf game so we can help you master yours. So in this lesson, we're going to talk about setting goals. So how do we set a goal? So a goal that I've set myself for this channel is to play in the British Amateur Championship, which means getting my handicap down to at least a plus 1.5, just for me to be able to qualify for this competition. Yeah. So right now, my official handicap is a 10. I have been lower than this. So my best handicap has been an 8. But the last couple of months, actually, it was probably more about 4 months ago, I got very technically minded. I was trying to think of too many things at once, and it really led me to play some of my worst golf I've played for in a while. So which kind of put me on to a bit more of a path of more strategy, routine, and learning how to score. And so then my handicap's just been declining a little bit more, and heading in the right direction again. But for me to get from 10 to a plus 1.5, that's a lot to try and comprehend and take off in one hit. So the way I'm going to go about it is chunk it down into manageable steps. So my first goal is going to be 8, a handicap of 8. Then I'm going to aim for 5, then 3, then 1, then scratch. And then from scratch, +1, and from +1 to better than 1.5. Yeah, and I'm going to track this journey. So the way I'm going to split this channel up is I'm going to do a section for the journey and what steps I've taken to really lower my handicap and play the best golf that I can play. And hopefully, as you can see that journey, you can then use similar steps in your own game to help you improve. And then I'm going to have another section of the channel where it is more like drills, games, range sessions, because we want to make it fun. And we're not going to go out there and practice and play if it's not fun. I always remember when I was a kid learning to play golf, I was silly with some of the shots I try and hit. I try and hit a flop shot over a bench to the practice green, and things that just to get you creative. There's time for block practice and there's time for creativity in golf as well. So we're gonna set down, see what drills are good, and hopefully you can pick and choose, because this, to improve in golf, it's all about finding your blueprint and what works for you. So some of the things that may work for me may not work for you, but there'll be an array of drills and games and things. So just pick and choose what ones that you like, and go from there. And then also on the channel is really, I want to focus on health, fitness, and other aspects of life. How can this goal really help me improve all of my life, not just my golf game? And then a big part of the channel is going to be mental. So one of my loves in my life is personal development. I love reading, I love learning. So it's going to be How can I use them skills to improve my golf game? So a lot of thing in personal development, there's about fear. So what exercises can I use to help get over fears of like losing a golf ball out of bounds or hitting my ball in water? Well, another one I've noticed I struggled with a bit on the course is slow play. So slow play is, I don't mind being behind slow play, but if it's my group that's causing the slow play, then a couple of things generally come up to me. So I want to really look into that and really help me find gratitude in them. So when I'm in them situations, I'll find it easier to get into the 5 fields and play better golf. So the goal is plus 1.5, but the first thing setting out any goal is to chunk it down into manageable steps. So right now I'm a 10. Yeah. I know to get to an 8 is going to be pretty easy. So what kind of things do I need to focus on to get to an 8? Yeah. And this is where data and numbers come in. So my numbers and data. So I use a shot tracking software called Arcus. And basically these just gives me insights into my game. So I've got up the top here, so you can see, so Arcos is saying my average handicap is a 9.2. I've got 7,200 shots in there and I played 96 rounds. So, and this data is my last 10 rounds compared to an 8 handicap. So overall, it's saying I'm losing 1.3 shots to an 8 handicapper. My approach shots, I'm losing 0.4. My short game, I'm gaining a shot on my short game. My putting, I'm losing 0.3. And my top 3 insights are driving accuracy, driving penalties, and then 150-yard approach shots. So they're where I'm losing my most amount of strokes during a round. So to me, so that's telling me a couple of things. So that's so my driver and my long irons, mid to long irons. So that's going to be my full swing. Yeah. So that's over the winter, because it's now coming into winter. This is going to be a good opportunity for me to really focus on any swing changes that I would like to make, because there's not a lot of light. So I can't really spend a lot of hours out on the golf course practicing on my short game or my putting, because really the key to shooting good score is all within 100 yards. Yeah. But the time of the year doesn't really warrant me going out and spending time working on that short game, because it'll be cold, wet, windy, and dark. I don't really want to be spending my evenings in that kind of environment working on my short game. So now's the perfect opportunity for me to make any big changes in my swing, because it gives me 2 to 3 months to really be able to work on that. And when coming into spring and summertime, I can then switch my focus a little bit to then just manage that swing change and then really put more emphasis on short game and putting. So I'm still going to work on short game and putting, but this isn't going to be a primarily focus for me. Say I was coming into this data and it was spring and summer, I would look at it a lot differently to what I'm looking at it now. I'd be like, right, okay, so my driving and my approach is I'm losing my most amount of shots. But I know scoring is where you can really improve on your scores. So scoring is all from 100 yards in. So I would actually go the opposite way, and I'd work on honing my short game and my putting to really help me save shots. Because so if I say I put my putt in at +1.5 and I got my short game to +1.5, so that means I would hit my handicap goal because my short game and my putting would save me the shots that I'm losing off the tee. Yeah. But because it is winter, I'm going to go the other route of driving and approach, because it gives me that time to really set in some swing changes that I would like to be working on. So it really just depends on where you are. If you haven't got a number and tracking data, then there's some things that I would encourage you to track while you're playing around. I'll cover a bit more of them in a minute. So if we look at, so I've got fairway dispersion here. So it's saying I've got a 19-yard average dispersion, which I don't quite get why it's telling me that, because to me, so you can see my dispersion there. And so the ones which really get me are these. So that's going to be about 50, 55 yards. And then on the other way, so that's 60 yards. So that's 110-yard dispersion, yeah, from my driver. So this is what's really causing me the penalty shots. So most of the time, we're good. But then I just have that odd 1 or 2 shots that just absolutely go off the side of the earth, and it really puts me in a lot of trouble, and it costs me so many shots. I've had so many rounds this year. There would have been there were what 80s, 81s, 79s. That would have easily been like 75s, 76s, 77s. But it was just 1 or 2 shots off the tee that just absolutely put me in trouble, either out of bounds, in the trees, lost the ball. So this is why I'm going down the route of working on driver and impact to see if I can bring in this discrepancy. So things to track. So I asked myself some questions at the end of each round. So my first question is, do I have the energy to play another 9 holes? And the reason I asked this question to myself is because if I've managed the 5 feels pretty well, so these 5 feelings: gratitude, enthusiasm, presence, and inspiration. So when we're doing things from this state of mind, we actually have more energy than when we started. So if I have a looking around and I've got more energy at the end of the round, I to go and play another 9 holes, another 18 holes, then I know I've managed that quite well during the round. And I've managed my mental game very well during the round. And I've not trying to swing too hard throughout the round. So that's telling me a couple of things then. So I like to ask myself that question. It just helps me to just check in and have I played from within myself. So what parts of my game were there today and what was missing? So for us to score well, there's generally this 2/3 rule. So when we have our good rounds, our lowest scores possible, generally 2 out of the 3 parts of our game would have been there. So that would have been tee shots, approach shots, and short game. So from within 100 yards. Yeah. So if we have 2 of the 3 parts of our game working that day, we would have our best rounds. When we have 1 out of 3, these will be our average rounds. So this is really a part about managing expectations. We are not going to have every single part of our game on fire at the same time. So this is just really helping us get to a point where I'm just tracking, do I have rounds where I have 0 out of 3? Okay, so if I have a lot of rounds with 0 out of 3, so then it's about getting right. Then the next stage is like, how the question I ask myself is, how do I get to 1 out of 3 consistently? Yeah. And then 2 out of 3, you'll very rarely get to 3 out of 3. There'll be the once in a lifetime rounds that you'll have 3 out of 3. But maybe it'll be 3 out of 3 if we can master all of these 5 feelings. So that might be a thing that we discover on this channel. Who knows? What did I do well? So you can see on the ARCOS things, what to work on, what's helping you. So I'll write down what I thought I'd done well and compare that to what ARCOS says I done well. And the same with what I can improve on. So what I thought I could improve on and what ARCOS is telling me. How well did I follow my routine? So golf really is a game about routine and patience. We hear patience a lot in golf. And I find it's not about focusing on the result. It's about focusing on your routine and how well. So my routine is I'm still tinkering with it a little bit, but my routine's all about getting me into a state of mind and a rhythm that links with these 5 feels: gratitude, enthusiasm, certainty, presence, and inspiration. The better my routine can get me into that state of a mind, the better I feel, the better result is going to come out of it. So how well did I follow my routine? How well did I use the 5 feels? So this is really about me noticing what was I doing to get them 5 feels. So if I had a hole where them 5 feels were present, I'm just thinking, what was I doing? What was I thinking? What was I feeling? What was I focused on? And then hopefully this is really going to help me really unlock really a process on how to get into that state of mind more frequently. What mental parts of the game I can work on. So this is about noticing if any fear pops up, if any anger pops up, if any frustration pops up. So if I can notice what parts of them, and then I can use some mental practices on them, which I'm going to film in a future video when these pop up, of how to overcome them. Did it work? Didn't it work? And then we're going to so it's just about just taking them notices. And then what I would suggest tracking, if you haven't got a thing like ARCOS, is greens in reg. Greens in reg is one of the most important things you can track. And I'll tell you why. Because fairways hit. So you actually, if from a stroke gains point of view, from fairways hit to being in the rough, it's very negligible on how much of a shot you lose. So fairways hit it kind of deludes on what you're trying to achieve. So generally with strokes gains is you really want to be as far up as the hole as possible without being in major trouble. So trees, fairway bunkers, OB, water. So you want to be really want to be asking yourself, you want to be up as far as you can, but without being in any major trouble. Rough, light rough, semi rough, it's not really going to make a huge difference to your score. And that's why I wouldn't really recommend focusing on fairways hit. Greens and putting, how many putts you use per round. Again, I wouldn't focus on how many putts, because each round you may have missed 10 greens that day, but your chipping's been on fire and you've chipped it to 3 foot and one putted. So you could have 30 putts, but it's not your putting that got you them 30 putts. It was your chipping. Yeah. So other parts of your game can influence in how many putts you have per round. I would, for your putting, I would track putts made from lower than 5 foot. So anything under 5 foot, how many did you miss and how many did you make? Yeah. And then putts from 10 to 30 foot left within a 3 foot radius. Yeah. And then it's like putting from 10 foot to 30 foot, 40 foot, however you want to do it. So this is all about speed control and lag putting. So to become a great putter, it's all about holding putts from within 3 foot, getting really good at that, and then lag putting and speed control. If you can do them two things, you'll very rarely 3-putt, and you'll make the odd putt, and you'll become a great functional putter. Yeah. So they're the two things that I would track if you haven't got any tracking devices. And if you can, one of the things I use to get down to 10, trying to remember who it was. I'll have to post it in another video. But it's, the thing was scoring method. I'll put it in the notes. That was really good. That was great if you want to get to an 18 handicapper, and then work on coming down a bit. So that's all about really splitting the golf course up. So it split it up from tee to 100 yards, and then from 100 yards in, and how many shots it took you. So how many shots it took you to 100 yards, then how many shots it took you from 100 yards into the hole. And then that really teaches you or gives you feedback on what part of the game you need to work on. So if it's taking you a lot of shots to get to 100 yards, then you need to work on your long game. If it's taking you a lot of shots from 100 yards into the hole, then it's really about working on your short game. So that's really good. I'll link who done. I can't remember off the top of my head who done that, but I'll link it in the show notes to who done that, and their website as well. That was really good for coming down. And then so now I've got all that information. So how am I really going to use them numbers to improve? So really, to improve in golf, I would highly recommend lessons. So I've been having lessons now for probably around about 2 years straight. And I recommend lessons over YouTube videos, just solely because the coach, he gets to know your swing, your tendencies, and he can really prescribe the right drills and give you the right information to help you improve your game. Watching a video on YouTube, it may sound like the right thing for what you need, but it can actually you can actually be worse off because you're working on things that A, you may not need to work on. B, your body might not even be capable of pulling off that type of movement, depending on your flexibility and mobility. So I really highly recommend getting a coach to really help you improve on your golf game. So over this winter period, it's going to be my long game. So I'm going to use my lessons and my coach to make a swing change. So right now, so my tendency probably about 4 months ago was to come flat and then over the top. And I'm predominantly use my shoulders. I very rarely use my legs in my golf swing. So the first stage of this swing change was really coming out, stopping it over the top and dropping my hands and shallowing my swing. And then the next thing we're working on is legs and using my legs in the ground properly. So there'll be some in the drill sections, there'll be some of the drills I've been using to really help change that part of my swing. So down in the driving range. So while practicing, what we want to do is we want to do block practice and we want to do random practice. So with my swing changes, I'll do drills, which is block practice and some games. And then for the driver, so I'm working on dispersion. So I don't know if I'm improving unless I'm tracking, have some form of tracking during my practice. So what I'll do is my last 13 balls of my range sessions, I put aside. I do my last 13 just because it really implements to me the last, I get one chance at it. So if I make a mistake, then I have to live with that mistake. So it really helps simulate what it's like on the golf course and applies that a bit more pressure. And then I'll visualize. So I'll pick 2 markers on the driving range, and then the aim is to get 13 out of 13 within them 2 markers. What I'll do is I'll go through my full routine and I'll actually pick the clubs that I would use in my strategy going off my local golf course. So instead of hitting 13 drivers, so my first club will be a 3 hybrid. Second club would be my 5 wood. My third club would be my driver. So I'm actually picking the club that I would use as I go through my local course. So it's like I'm playing my local course. And then I'm tracking how many fairways I hit and how many I miss. And then I'm just trying to better that each and every time. And then when I've hit 13 out of 13, so I'm at 11, I've hit 11 at the moment, I'll then narrow my fairway up in the range and I'll go again. So this is all about using my routine. So I'll stand back from behind the ball, I'll picture the shot, I'll step in, and I'll go in. And then so that's how I'm practicing getting into my routine, into that state of mind to hopefully help me improve my driving. Also, what I can do, so I've got my driver dispersion. So this might be a quick win for me. I've not done this yet, so I need to pick this up. So I've got a picture of my dispersion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a satellite image at the same ratio to that, and I'm going to overlay the image. And I'm going to do this to see if I can pick better lines around the golf course off the tee. So then it accounts for my worst shot. So if my worst shot was to happen on that, it wouldn't leave me out of bounds, or it wouldn't leave me in a place where I'm going to lose shots. So I'm going to see if I can help pick up better lines. So you could do this as well. So most coaches have like launch monitors and things like that, or you can go to some ranges have launch monitors now, or even you get some like fun places now pop up with golf simulators. So it's about what I'd recommend doing is hit 30 drivers, find out a dispersion pattern, and then go onto Google. I think there's some other websites as well where you can pull up your golf course satellite image, and then you can overlay that dispersion over it, and then you can kind of help plan off the tee. So it can give you. So if you are losing a lot of shots over the tee, that could be a strategy you could use to help save some strokes. Another thing I'm going to focus on over the winter is speed and tempo training. So I've just brought the stack system. I've read a lot of good reviews about it, and actually I'm really enjoying it. So the start was, my speed was 105. So I got 105 mile an hour speed with my driver at the minute. So I'm really looking to bring up my speed and work on my tempo, so smooth speed, and then to really help me with accuracy and distance, because distance is going to help you save strokes in the long run. The closer you are to the hole, the less strokes it will be to get into the hole. So speed training, so I've got a stack, so I'll be tracking that. I'll be doing a stack video, so I'll actually film a workout, and so I'm gonna get a table together and use that information and track it over time and see what see how many shots that's saving me. And then on tempo training, so I'm using an app called Tour Tempo, and it's got a 3-to-1 ratio. So they say a great tempo for a golf swing is your backswing's 1 and your downswing's 3. So a 3-to-1 ratio. And it's got sounds or voice commands to help you get into that tempo. And it does have different tempos as well. So I'm using that while at the range, just to help ingrain a smooth tempo and consistency. Because I find when I'm in a great mental state and using them 5 feels, tempo just comes as a byproduct. So you can really do to help get into them states. You can either do it 2 ways. You can do it through your body. So in, say, like for something like confidence or certainty, is you can first have the body language that is congruent with that feeling, and then your mind will automatically pick that up. Or you can do your mind and then your body will then have that. So you can go 2 routes with that. So tempo training is really helping me get into that tempo and then really training my brain for that tempo. And then over the winter as well, I'm going to do some mental exercises, fear on losing the golf ball, and fear on slow play. Going to be my first 2 things I'm going to pick up on, because they're the things I'm noticing out on a golf course, and then I'll move on from there. I've also got some other exercises in the back of my mind, which is going to be fun, and I think it's going to make a huge difference. And but really, if you want to lower your score, the key to scoring is under 100 yards. Get efficient from 100 yards and under. So I said I'm not really going to focus on this over the winter. It's mainly going to be my driver, but this is still going to be in there. This is one of the key fundamentals. Every book I've read for golf and scoring, they're all saying scoring is from 100 yards and in. So a bulk of my practice sessions down the range is going to be wedges, wedge control. In my lessons, 1/3 of the time in my lessons, so I generally have an hour's lesson. So 20 minutes of that lesson, I'm always working on wedges. And then, so I'm still working on that. So it's not going to be the forefront of what my focus is on, but it's still going to be there. And I just want to reiterate how important scoring is. So if you're pretty good off the tee, then that's the place for you to start. Well, to be fair, even if you're wondering where to start there. Become a functional putter. Do become a great putter from 3 foot, and then speed control, and then work on drills on getting up and down, and then move your way from the hole backwards. So thank you for watching this video today. If you like some of the things you've heard on this video today, please subscribe, please follow the journey. Hopefully we can both get to a spot where we're playing the best golf of our lives consistently, and have some fun doing it. So there's going to be some games, there's going to be some real things that you can get your teeth into, and really some practical things that you can do. So a lot of the mental things out there is, they say, work on a routine, visualize, be present. That's all well and good, but how can we do that? So this is where Five-Field Golf comes in. I'm going to really use my knowledge and my experience in personal development, and really fill that gap of how we can do that, and give you some exercises to do to really help you improve your mental side of the game, and strategy as well. So there's going to be a place in here for strategy, because strategy is important. Okay, thank you for watching, my friend, and I'll see you in a future video.